Hi, I'm Birdime.
Hello, and today we are reviewing Human Resources, the Big Mouth spin-off show, and I almost wasn't planning to review this show, but I decided since I did review Big Mouth Season 5 that I will in fact review it. I was going to take my time watching it because the first episode or two wasn't interesting, but eventually I actually got a little bit into the show. But here is my overall review of Human Resources Season 1. Now, I have mixed opinions on it being a spin-off or not, and I definitely think that feel hurts the show overall. It's very connected, but not at the same time. Usually a spin-off involves a character, or it being in a different time place. This show wants to be connected very much, but not at the same point, and that becomes an overall issue in the show. Not only does it really feel weird in the timeline of the show, but it's just certain characters that they changed for the show. Like in episode 2, Walter was just a bit more crazy. Sonia's whole story was very, very different than what she was shown to be in the actual Big Mouth show. Though Sonia's overall story wasn't bad and actually got to be interesting, at first it was just hard to get into it because it just felt like a complete 180 from her character. And Walter, how he acted, ended up making sense in the end if you look back at it. But I'll get into that when I talk about that story. Speaking though more on to the characters, I really enjoyed Tyler being back in the show. Though he only made some small appearances, Tyler was very funny in the show. And I enjoyed some of the new characters as well, like Pete the Logic Rock. I liked his character. And I liked some of the new species that they introduced, and the expansion into the love bug, some of the new hormone monsters. I have mixed opinions on the depressing cats on the show. The depressing kitty was always great to root against. The best part about her character was you never will root for her, but you're also not hating the character because the character's bad. You're just hating the character for the right reasons. Sometimes these characters get to have like actual real dislike just because the writing just is bad. But I think they balance it well with the depressing kitty. Though I had mixed opinions on the new Cat Stevens because you kind of can root for him, but he's a depressing cat, so you really don't want to. And then he didn't even appear again, so we really didn't get an expansion on his kind of possible love interest. The main character of the show is okay. It goes back to the whole thing that if it was more of a spin-off, it should have been more based on the love bugs than the hormone monsters themselves. It could have been maybe a bit better if it's just based on like maybe whole story, but maybe not. I really have mixed opinions on that. Like, would the show been better if it was this whole show and not have the office characters also main characters, just having them more of reoccurring characters? Because I of course still think they should be in the show. Though talking about those other characters and the love bugs entirely, I like the different uses of the feelings that they do. Like the hormone monsters aren't just, for sex related things. They are just hormones for like pregnancy and things like that. The love bugs can be love of different things, like in the show they have the love of this sports team and stuff like that. I really enjoyed those things, and it really just gave an overall Inside Out vibe. I think the only thing I didn't like is that some character designs, they just are weird and they just don't make sense, and it's mainly like the background characters. And they were kind of fine when they were just like a Human Resources episode in the past Big Mouth seasons. But when it's the overall show, I really felt like some of the random like glob looking monsters and stuff like that just didn't look good. I think the only ones that I didn't like that appeared commonly was the hippo and was the need demons. I didn't think they did good on the designs overall. And I have mixed opinions on the Grief Sweater character and his design. I didn't mind the Need Demons, kind of how they play into the show. I just didn't like how they looked. And talking about some of the real people, I really enjoyed Becca. I really enjoyed how they designed the story to show you the characters and then expand upon their relations to other characters. We got to meet Becca, and then we only saw Barry a little bit, but then we got more Barry's story, and then we met his Huma monsters instead of doing it all at once in the first time of meeting Barry and Becca. Same with Yari and her family, the old lady that I mentioned earlier. I really enjoyed that we met Yari and her son, and then we met one of her granddaughters, and then we saw the other granddaughter, and then we put it all together for the family. And Becca's story was overall okay. Same with some of the other characters. I think overall I really just liked Yari's story the best, and I think that just overall helped the show completely. They really just went well into making it more of an adult themed show, going more on adults' problems like pregnancy, and Yari's story about dementia. I think they just did very well on. Which goes into what I was talking about earlier with Walter, of how he acted a bit more out of it when he was with Yari versus other people. And I think they just did so well on her story and with the family. And honestly, it was episodes with the Yari stuff in the later part of the season that just really helped the show. If I remember correctly, I think the best episodes in my mind was it was definitely 5, and I think it was either 4 or 6. That really helped the season overall. And just going on some last points, there's some mixed opinions on some jokes. They really paid attention with some references and stuff like that in the background, but then there's some jokes that are just like the Grinch that just didn't feel like they landed. But they did very good and paid attention to details, like earlier in the show they mentioned that Sonia got the Obamas together, and then if you pay attention to when we show her house, that we see their pictures of the Obamas together. I have mixed opinions though on the season finale and Maury's whole pregnancy stuff, that I think if they really fixed the final episode, they could have actually helped the entire season get a better score, though I do think it did better than the last season of Big Mouth. And overall, I'm giving the show a 70. I think it was okay. I wouldn't mind a second season. I think they can do even better. But that is all for me today. I have been Birdime. Make sure to have a good night.